Cool. And hey, everybody, welcome back to another episode of the Rip White Tea podcast. It's JP and Kevin back for
Hiya.
another exhilarating discussion of
Ah,
pop culture. Not wrestling. Well, maybe wrestling today. I'll be
maybe.
able to shoehorn that into this
I'm
conversation.
sure there will be.
But we'll get to that topic. We'll get to the topic in a minute. But how you been, Kev?
I'm good, man. How are you, man? I'm excited, not just for this topic, but we got a little. I know we got some traveling coming up soon, so
Yes,
I'm
we do.
I'm
We
pretty
both
pumped
got
for
some.
that. So
Yeah.
yeah,
Where are you going first?
I'm going to the Big Apple, going to New
Big
York,
Apple.
East
Yes.
Coast, first time.
Mhm.
Really excited to check it out. Going
Mhm.
for a friend's wedding.
Yes.
Uh,
Well, not a Fred. He has actually been on our podcast
Yes, he
before,
has
so
been. He
he's
was actually our second guest
yes,
on the podcast. JJ is
yes.
taking the deep dive, so I'm gonna be there in person in the
Yeah,
Big Apple, New York, and yeah, should be fun. How about you, man? Where are you
yeah.
going?
Well, I'm definitely excited for you, for New York. Like it's a great city. I wish I could be there, really, really do, but I have family obligations or
Ah,
responsibilities to my fiance. I'll be
yeah.
in Hawaii the same day
Ooh,
as JJ's wedding. Well, kinda,
yeah,
depending
yeah.
on the time zones.
Time
But
zones, yeah.
my future brother-in-law is getting married in Hawaii, so that's
Ah,
where I'll be, which I don't mind being in Hawaii.
not bad, not bad at
Pokey
all.
pokey beach bum and just chilling
Yeah, nothing
chilling
wrong
in the
with that.
ocean is not a bad thing.
Not a
So,
bad thing, never.
but yeah.
Cool,
So
man.
we're both traveling on opposite sides
Travelers.
of Cali. But if
Yeah.
I could have found a way to go to both at the same time, I would have. But
I mean, there's still
maybe
time to get a G5, you know.
a
So,
G5. Yeah, but none of our friends are stuck in the jungle and but
Flaming
anyways,
Dragon,
Tropic Thunder, Flaming Dragon.
Flaming Dragons.
Yeah.
So,
I'm not gonna do any more references
please don't.
from that movie right
We
now,
should
but
not.
yeah, Tropic Thunder reference if anyone's wondering what we're talking about. But anyways,
Hmm.
have you I don't know, anything you've been catching up on, watching, getting ready? Are you into Game of Thrones or House of the Dragon?
No,
No.
I'm not really a big Game of Thrones
Okay.
fan. I didn't
Mhm.
really watch it. Um, and House of Dragon, I thought it was something I could get into because it's like, oh, no
Mhm.
one's really no one knows, you know. So maybe I could
Yeah.
hop on the train on
Okay.
that one. Yeah, no,
Okay.
I did not.
What?
So
Okay. No worries. What about the boys? Did you start
I
the new
am.
season yet?
Did it start already?
I
I
thought it
thought it'd
didn't.
start next week. No, whatever.
Okay, and
I,
there may have been early reviews
oh,
or
okay, yeah.
something
So
like that.
I have seen.
Okay.
I do follow that. I did only
Mhm.
watch half of the first season of Gen V.
Mm,
Me personally, I like just give me the bones. Just give me the meat and
mhm.
bones. I don't need any extra like side quests or stuff like that. And
Yeah.
I
Okay.
I know people like extra content for context and stuff, but when
Right.
it comes to the boys for me, I just give me the main storyline. I don't need extra shit, and that's why
I
I
get it.
didn't really finish it, even though I heard it
Mhm.
was really good. So
Yeah.
maybe after season 4, I'll give it a shot. But yeah, what about
Okay.
you?
I'm a season behind. I've been meaning to catch up for this next season.
Mm,
The fiance got me into Game of Thrones amongst
mm-hmm.
other medieval royal series, Bridgerton.
That
But
is not
yeah.
medieval times, bro. That is
Whatever.
Bridgerton is not medieval.
Royal. It's close enough. Close
Oh
enough.
yeah,
But
okay. You're
Um,
crazy.
Queen Charlotte's better than Bridgerton, anyways. But
Ooh,
so
hot
yeah, I
take.
want to try to get her into the boys. So just
Okay,
I think that's her
that's a
style.
drastic
But
change from what she'd be watching in Bridgerton. Drastic
it's
change.
well, boys and Game of Thrones are very similar, just modern take on
Sure,
the fantastical. But
sure.
okay, just curious. I know a couple series for the summer are coming back, so just
Hmm.
wondering if you're catching up or getting ready for that. But
Yeah.
okay, well, let's see what else. You've been catching up on the Deadpool trailers,
You
or
know,
are you trying to go in cold
I mean, I know
for the movie?
I've seen a few trailers. I mean,
Hmm.
my understanding, I think I saw the final trailer. There's not much that changed. You just see a little more fight
Hmm.
scenes, I believe, stuff
No.
like that. And I've seen what I've seen, so it's
Okay.
cool. I've heard rumors of this and that, and
Hmm.
at this point, I'm just ready to watch it. You know,
Okay.
so yeah. What about
Now,
what are you
oh
feeling?
yeah, I've been watching just because it's been popping up on my feed and stuff like that. Just so I just figured just watch it. I'm ready.
Yeah,
Thought spoilers or extra content I was gonna
mm,
see anyways. Yeah, they've been good. I don't think they revealed too much. They revealed just enough to kind of gauge the interest of what they're actually going on.
mm,
Funko may have spoiled some things, but not of it to give away plot. Um,
okay,
do you have
that's
any
interesting.
final? Do you have any final theories, or do
Mm,
you and most of all, do you think Taylor Swift's gonna be in the film?
I
Because
think
right now
Taylor.
they're saying she isn't.
Yeah, I think she's in the film. I'm gonna say she is in the film,
Mm,
and let's say this is a crazy theory, but everyone's saying we're gonna see Lady Deadpool. There was already
mm,
images of Lady Deadpool, right? That
yeah.
are people are saying, and I'm gonna say that Lady Deadpool is gonna be Blake Lively, Ryan
Mm,
Reynolds' wife.
that would okay.
I think that's on point there,
Yeah.
and I think because her and Taylor Swift are friends, right?
Hmm.
They're
Yeah.
buddies. I think Taylor Swift, even though people said she might be playing Dazzler, okay,
Okay.
I think she plays Deadpool the dog, Dogpool,
Okay.
as
That'd
like inner
be
inner monologue Dogpool,
yeah.
ugly ass dog, but as Taylor Swift's voice. I think
Okay.
that'd be
That
sick.
those are interesting
That's what I'm calling.
twists where Taylor Swift could play. Like I wouldn't mind anything random Taylor Swift just to get her in the MCU.
I like the
Now, given
Dazzler. I like the
yeah.
Dazzler's the Dazzler take.
Yeah, I feel like there could have been a better character for Taylor Swift to be. I would like her to be Lady Deadpool, but since you said Blake Lively, I'm gonna go one step further
Mm-hmm.
and say it's Scarlett Johansson because that's his ex-wife. And what better way to just
Wow.
give Scarlett Johansson more of a like her black close off her Black Widow, but enter in a new character in the MCU and give her that opportunity to play Lady Deadpool to
Damn,
just be very meta.
that's kind of wild, actually.
Yeah, like the wild speculation is there already. Like that, no one would see that coming.
Yeah,
Like
that's true. No one would.
if like Blake Lively's a great one if
Mm-hmm.
that would be the case, but I feel like if Lady Deadpool would be incorporated, she'd be somebody like yeah
Shocking.
out of left field. Yeah,
Okay.
like because like there's already a lot of spec on Taylor Swift
I think it'd just be
and
really funny if it was Blake Lively, because it'd be like,
yeah,
that's his wife. Why are
mhm,
they giving his wife free money? You know what I mean? Don't they have
yeah, that's
enough money
true.
already? I think it should be funny.
Yeah, we were also discussing the logical choice would be Vanessa.
Yeah,
Should be Lady Deadpool. Like I wouldn't mind that. That would be actually
that'd be pretty
like
cool.
she deserves a little bit more. Like she's done great on the first film. She wasn't too much in the second. Just
Mm-hmm.
a flat or she afterlife segment,
Yeah,
but just to give her a bit more character time or development as Lady Deadpool would be cool to see. But
I could dig that.
yeah, but well, as we discussed Deadpool and this whole topic for today is the anti-hero.
The anti-hero.
Yeah, well, this came up for me. I brought this up to Kevin last week. Like I had one friend mention how he like, yeah, I like rooting for the villain. Like
Mm-hmm.
it's more realistic. And then the creator of The Boys also mentioned he's a little bit baffled as to how there's a fan base that idolizes Homelander, and even the actor of Homelander was like, you're missing the point of what Homelander is. But a part of me gets it why they root for Homelander as the
Mm-hmm.
hero. They think he's the hero, or they want to see him beat the boys. But
Mm-hmm.
I don't know. How do you feel about the current landscape, or has this always been the thing where
I think
audiences
it's
wanted more hero villain to have a better
you know
rise versus
I think
an antagonist hero?
I think it's more recent in maybe the last decade or
Hmm.
so, maybe
Right.
12 to 15 years to be exact. But
Hmm. Yeah.
Hollywood itself has always had these stories that were anti-hero-ish. It all kind of
Hmm.
depends on what you believe an anti-hero is. Like
Sure.
because there's ones that they're villains that do bad things, and there are people who do bad things for good reasons. You know what I mean? So what's it really how you define the term itself? There's so many ways you can. Like the earliest anti-hero I can think of in my head was The Professional, like Leon,
Oh
the
yeah,
Natalie
that's a good
Portman
point.
movie. Like
Yeah.
this dude, you know, this guy's a bad guy because he's a hitman. He
Mhm.
kills people, but he saves this girl to make sure she lives on and shit like that. And
Yeah.
you know, it's a little bit more subtle. Whereas nowadays it's kind
Yeah.
of like you have, like you said, Homelander, who
Yeah.
is a parody of Superman, basically.
Yeah.
But it's
Oh
like
yeah.
if Superman went crazy or something like that, you know. So
True.
it really depends on how you define anti-hero.
Define it.
So how do
Yeah.
you define it, JP?
Gray areas like Punisher is obviously an anti-hero where he's not fully villain, he's not fully hero. Like
Mm-hmm.
he it's like threading the line of
Mm-hmm.
like he's doing wrong action. He's doing very violent or he's killing people basically. That's the bare bones.
Right.
He's killing people to justify a good action. And then I also could think of like Daredevil could be an anti-hero. He's been more anti-hero on screen
Mm-hmm.
than hero in some ways. And then Oliver Queen, the first 2 seasons
Mm.
of Arrow, I could see more of being an anti-hero than an actual hero.
He's a
and
vigilante.
the vigilante, yeah. That's anti-hero in a nutshell, being a vigilante. Not like I don't need heroes to always abide by the law,
Yeah.
but it's obvious that who's good and who's not doesn't want to be looked at as good. So
No,
but
definitely.
that goes to the whole other thing too, where the Homelander actor was saying like he believes Homelander could kick Superman's ass because he's gonna fight dirty. And then is that what audience want? Like, is that
Yeah.
what the current people ingesting this type of story and content, like they just want to see the hero fall
Well, yeah. I mean,
to
look what John said here in the chat. He said heroes like Superman are boring because they're all about justice, right? They're all about doing it the right way.
Mhm,
It's everything to him is like black and white. You know what I mean?
mhm,
But someone, for example, like you said, like the Punisher, right? He wants justice, but there's two ways to get justice, right? Are you gonna be like Superman and just bring him to jail and like stop him, or are
mhm,
you gonna put him down where they can't hurt anyone anymore, but you're committing a
mhm.
crime? So like,
Yeah.
why do people gravitate to that? And it's just because I think it's just a little bit more realistic. You know what I
Okay.
mean?
No, that I agree with that. Like one of my favorite movies is Law Abiding Citizen.
Right.
Like
Yes.
you're not supposed to cheer for Gerard Butler, but all his moves and justification of
Yeah.
like against the system, like I feel like people want to cheer, and it's kind of relatable in some ways. Like
Mm-hmm.
you feel an injustice, and I guess things the anti-hero does a lot of things I guess the normal person wish they could do.
Right.
Would you agree with that?
No, I definitely agree with
Uh,
that for sure.
okay. And are there any movies or other characters that you could think of that you've you know know you shouldn't have been cheering, but
That's
their whole character growth
that's a
just
good
worked for you?
question. Oh man, good question. I can't think of one, but
Yeah.
you know, someone who may not be viewed as an anti-hero is somebody like,
Mhm,
because everyone thinks that the hero has no problems, right? Like
mhm,
they could fix everything, like Superman, right? Superman, he has strength, he's invulnerable, and
mhm.
it wasn't a matter of will he save the day. It's kind of like how is he gonna save the day, right? Because you know this
Yeah.
guy's OP, he's gonna figure it out. Whereas someone like Spider-Man, this dude is like he
Mm,
has so many problems, like you know, he had problems with his powers, you know, like he was thrusted into a situation where he didn't know if he wanted to be a superhero,
mhm.
and you know, having the responsibility for himself, like
Yeah.
that's a big choice to do, you know. So to see him like struggle with that just makes it feel really really good. You know, I mean, not good, but
Mhm.
like it's a good like way to like uh feel like you know the character, you know, more than
Yeah.
somebody that's like an alien that can do everything, you know.
No,
So
no, that's cool. Like Yeah, that's it's the unfortunate thing about Superman, where he's not of this world and he's now the measuring stick for this world.
Right. Well, even like Captain
Um,
America, like in X-Men 97,
yeah,
like he tells Rogue, "My hands are tied," right? And Rogue's
hmm
like, "Well, fuck you," and throws the shield. It's like exactly like
yeah,
you know what the right thing to do is,
hmm
and that's the thing about the anti-hero is kind of like doing the right thing isn't always the right thing. You know what I mean? So,
yeah,
but that's how they kind of justify doing all those things. But
hmm
yeah, so
like I wouldn't like just thinking about it now. The way Spider-Man's portrayed, he's obviously a hero, but in universe, he's probably an anti-hero because of like the Daily Bugle,
oh
and
yeah,
like well, at least when he early starts out, he's people doesn't know where if he's a mutant, if
hmm
he's really helping people, and but he's still um yeah, he's still doing his thing, of the truth, justice, and the
American
New Yorker
way.
way. Yeah. But so I guess it's like I guess they're more relatable in some ways.
I
The
mean,
anti-hero, like going back to that.
I
Or
like look at Walter White from Breaking Bad.
yeah, that's
Why do
yeah.
people gravitate to him, right? It's not
hmm
because he was like, "Oh, I'm the one that knocks. I am the danger." It's like,
hmm
"No, man, I'm a high school fucking chemistry teacher that needed money." You know what I mean? And
hmm
everyone can relate to that shit. So that's why it's like, "Oh, I could watch these people because they would do the shit that I was too scared to do." You know what I mean?
Yeah,
Or I wouldn't do that because my morality, like I couldn't do it or something, you know. And I think that's why I like guilty pleasures, you know what I mean. So I guess that's
that is
why
true.
people
No,
like that. Yeah.
that's a good point. Like, um, the audiences turn villains into like they enjoy the villain so much in movies and cinema or movies and TV or just all media, and then like the next sequel or installment they're now a hero. Like
Right.
the first thing that came to mind is like Terminator.
Mm.
Like that, I think
Two
that's the
or the first
early
one?
two. Well,
Two.
that whole where Terminator was so good
Mm-hmm.
as a character, the next movie he's
Yeah.
brought back as a hero, but more of just
Yeah.
I think he's probably one of the earliest modern day anti-heroes
Mm.
that that the overall audiences were in favor for.
Right.
And then
I'd actually like to know when the term anti-hero was like coined. You know what I mean?
right. Mm,
Because I'm sure that's all it comes to perspective. And
mhm.
John just wrote
Nah,
Jack Sparrow, Han Solo.
yeah, not Han Solo. Like when I googled anti-hero, like that's Han Solo surprised me. It makes sense. I guess the term anti-hero is so ambiguous because it's like this is not just the origin of how they became a there's the origin of why they're an anti-hero is so ambiguous for all these different characters because like for Han Solo I think it's a reluctance to be a hero, so they have to categorize him into an anti-hero segment. But for Jack Sparrow, he knows he's a bad guy, but he's still doing good things, so like there really isn't
I,
one mold
is
fits all in
being
this category.
a bad guy? You know,
Okay, Wreck It Ralph.
Wreck It Ralph reference, but you know, it's an example of like the westerns back in the
Mhm.
old westerns. It was
Yeah, that's
very
a good
paper
point.
cut, right? The guy
Yeah.
comes into the town. He wears a white
Mhm.
hat. He's there to kill the guy with the black hat. And then
Yeah.
post western is always kind of well, it's kind of ambiguous now. You know what I mean? Now you
Yeah.
have this guy wearing the black hat who's kind of this hero because he's
Yeah.
dishing out the justice and stuff like that. So
Mhm.
it's like it goes all the way back then, and who
Yeah.
knows if like you know we viewed it the same way. You know, I'm sure it's
Mhm.
different, very different, especially with the whole superhero universe running Hollywood and media and all that. So
Yeah.
it's a lot more spoon fed than it was back then. You know what I mean?
Right. Well, this is I think we're gonna go on a lot of tangents on this, but like the Greek mythology, like of
Mm-hmm.
is it well Hercules for one, the gods hated him, but the people loved him, or who's the one with the who stole fire from the gods?
Is that Prometheus?
Uh,
I don't know.
Odysseus. Odysseus. I get them mixed up, but like
I'm not a
I guess
Greek
it's
god
just
person.
yeah. It's been a while since I've seen anything of those genres, but I think it's perspective too.
Mhm.
Like
You
it
know,
goes
definitely.
bringing bringing it back to how the creators of the boys or the showrunner of the boys is like there is that group of fans that have a perception of Homelander is their hero. Homelander is doing what
Are you talking about like
they
fans,
feel is
real fans,
yeah,
like
real
real
fans.
fans are like idolizing Homelander?
Yeah, 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 pretty much. And not to get too political, but he also said it's probably just it's our heroes or the people, maybe the people we root for right now. He mentioned something. It's probably just the times you live in that
No,
there's
definitely. I
this
mean,
group, there's a subsection of fans that think of Homelander as somebody to admire because of
well, he's
his
anti-woke.
action.
You know,
Yeah,
he's
yeah,
anti-woke. You know,
that's
basically.
true. And
So
like, yeah, not to go too deep into that. We're not the podcast to do that, but it's just funny that how a blatant villain can be cheered for, um, just for
hey, man,
um
it's
portraying
it happens every
like
day when you turn on the
pseudo act.
news.
Yeah,
So
yeah,
it's
that
hard
is
to
true.
distinguish nowadays. You know, like you said,
Yeah.
it's all perspective, and it really just
Hmm.
depends on what you believe in. You know, so
Yeah.
I mean, look at Venom, right? We
Hmm.
we
Yeah.
we look at him. I mean, I look at him as an anti-hero
Hmm.
because
Not. Hmm.
when he's with Spider-Man, he's a villain, right? But when he's by
Yeah.
himself, is his own stories, he's
Yeah.
kind of an anti-hero. You know what I mean?
Hmm.
So again, context is very important to what's going on with the
Yeah. No,
characters. You know, so
no, definitely. Well, like I think that's also like true to what the audience does again, where they take a cool villain and they kind of nudge him into like he can't be full hero, so let's give him this even cooler moniker of anti-hero
yeah,
where he keeps his edge, but he's doing it for
yeah,
just for the same reasons as Spider-Man, but
yeah. Well,
he's
here,
still yeah.
same example, Venom, like the movies with Tom Hardy. Oh, Venom,
Mhm,
I'm eating people because it tastes good, but wait, there's a
mhm,
bigger symbiote that's a more threat to I am. So now he's the main villain, and I'm the
mhm,
quote unquote hero. So
mhm.
that's just how it is. Like Carnage, oh, he's a bigger threat than I am, so I'm the hero.
Yeah.
So
That's one character that should never leave that villain box. But like there's people that love Carnage and like just want him. They
mhm.
did an entire series of Carnage destroying everything,
Was there
or
a
they
Carnage
do
kills the?
entire runs.
Yeah.
Yeah, this probably was like, but it just goes to the credit of what readers are just content, what we all are, what all of us as consumers are really gravitating towards these
Mhm.
days is just. Do you think it's more of just the escape factor of seeing an
Yeah. I
anti-hero
just
and
think it's
villain do
just
things?
nice to see. It's just a good way to like get that scratch itched, you know, like
Mhm.
of like,
Yeah.
oh, dude, like violence and stuff, and but this guy's doing it for the good, so you justify it
Mhm.
in your own way. You know what I mean? So,
Okay.
I mean, do I like rooting for the hero? Sure. I
Mhm.
mean, here's a good example. You've watched it. I'll be honest, I didn't watch it. Joker with Joaquin
Mhm.
Phoenix. Like,
Yeah.
was there a big villain in that, or was it just literally his story of him becoming the Joker, or an idea of the Joker? Because you know, I know he killed people in that movie, but it's just
Mhm.
kind of like I don't know. Give me context. Like, was it really an anti-hero movie, or was it more of just like a come to age villain story?
I feel like it's more of a come to age villain story, but I think he played both. He played
Ah,
both the
hero
he was
and the
his
villain.
own yeah, like there was glimpses of him just wanting to, just be the clown that he
Mm,
wanted to be, but then there's just those internal urges that led him down the path of darkness, and but ultimately brought him to where he wanted to be. Like
right.
it's the weird thing where he just wanted to be a regular clown making people laugh, but then he ended up being a clown that made it people uh
See, I think
revolt.
that's a better story than what we got with
Mm-hmm.
Venom. You know what I mean?
Mm-hmm.
Instead of trying to make this villain, who's mostly a villain, into an anti-hero, but the story of him becoming a villain is much better than trying to give him a bigger bad so he doesn't look as
Mhm.
bad. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
So
Um,
I think that's a
Tangent.
bit. Yeah.
Yeah. Tangent. They're saying that Harley Quinn may be the antagonist for Joker 2. They're gonna flip it where the Joker's not the abuser, but Harley is the abuser to Joker. But
Hmm.
um, that's just one potential theory in that regard.
Interesting. Don't know if I like
Um,
that, but
but
we'll see.
yeah, like yeah, we'll see. We'll when more trailers come out, we'll discuss
Mm-hmm.
those our potential thoughts. But uh, I is it just do we just grow up out of enjoying the hero and wanting to cheer the villains and the anti-hero, or because
I mean, it really
we no
depends
longer
on. I mean, I think here's a really good. I don't know, man. Like Avengers: Infinity War, right?
hmm
Everyone's like, it wasn't really an Avenger movie. It was more of a Thanos movie, right?
yeah, of
Because
course, yeah.
Thanos, we got a lot of screen time with Thanos, and he won eventually at the end of the film. But was
hmm
that an anti-hero story? No, that was a villain story. You know what I
Yeah.
mean? And I think we like rooting for the villains because we're just so tired. I mean, at least I'm tired of always seeing the good guys win. Because
Yeah.
that's not realistic. Good guys, eventually do win, but they
Yeah.
always lose somewhere. Remember, they're the Avengers, not the pre-Vengers, not the post-Vengers, but the Avengers. So that's why I think people like to see the villain win like more.
hmm
Yeah, like John said, flawed heroes are more relatable. Yeah,
hmm
no, definitely, for sure. So
Do we want more relatable characters, or do we want more? Is it in media? Well, let's just say it's sticking to media and um all this content we absorb. Do we want something more relatable to our day to day, or do we want something of a example of what we could aspire to?
hmm.
Or what would you like at least? Like,
Okay, here's my take. Okay, when it comes to like heroes and stuff, like let's just say Godzilla, right? We watch. I don't
mhm.
know if you watched Godzilla minus
Not
one,
yet.
minus
Didn't mean
zero,
to.
minus one, and it was
One.
just like really good. And he's obviously the villain, right?
Mhm.
But when you watch like Godzilla Kong and the MonsterVerse version,
Mhm.
like he's a hero. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
And it's just like I don't go into it like this movie's thinking like, oh, he's an anti-hero. He's just the hero of the film because he fucks up
Mhm.
the other monsters. But if
Right.
I'm watching something like John Wick or something, like I
Mhm.
anti-hero's not like the thing that comes to my head. It's just like,
Right.
and I don't know if that's something that I'm just desensitized to because I know what I'm
Mhm.
getting into, but I don't know.
Mhm.
You've broken me, so I don't know.
I'm sorry.
It's okay,
Well,
but
we've been broken for a while. Like your favorite Batman, the line goes you either die a hero or see yourself become the villain.
mhm.
And I think
I mean that's true. There's truth
yeah.
to it. You know what I mean? Because
Yeah.
like you said, like another example, like Selena Kyle, when she's
Mhm.
with Batman, she's a hero, but when she's not with Batman, she's off doing thieving
Mhm.
stuff. So she's a villain. So
Right.
context. So
Context. Yeah.
but
Mhm.
that's why we root for them. Because they do the bad things.
The bad things like what people really want to be doing, but
Yeah,
they
but we don't
so it's
stuff like that.
just so it's more of an escape thing than
Yeah,
actual idolization for
for some people,
for the most part for some
for
people.
most people. Just some people have trouble distinguishing reality from fiction
Mhm.
sometimes. So
Yeah, well, yeah, that's the era we live in. Unfortunately, the consumption of all these forms of media and can lead to that type of warp. Again, it's what we got with Homelander right now. We've got a
yeah.
warped sense of idolization of a guy who's just
Well, what?
blatantly evil. But
Well, why do you
yeah,
think people like Batman over Superman? It's just like an animated
hard to say.
movie.
Like,
It's like an
yeah,
animated movie.
hard to. Yeah,
Like Green Lantern says, like, are you just a guy in a bat suit? It's like,
yeah,
yeah, pretty much, dude.
pretty much. Well, like I was like, he's not relatable. He's a billionaire with all the toys and resources. I think that's the modern day type of hero we want to cheer for is
You know who's the most relatable hero
Mhm.
in like media of all time? Blank
Who?
Man. Blank
Blank
Man.
Man.
He made
Okay,
homemade
explain
gadgets.
yourself.
Dude,
Mhm.
homemade gadgets. He uses a Super Nintendo for his robot. You know, it's all his costume is made with
Yeah.
science, like stuff like that, and it's just someone. He's not, not a tech billionaire, but he's a smart dude, and he makes his own stuff. You know, that's
Mhm.
a relatable type superhero, I guess,
Mhm.
or even was it Kick Ass? You know what I mean?
Kick ass. Yeah.
No one had powers in that technically, but
No.
some of them were just freaks of nature and stuff. But
Mhm.
it's just I don't know. You've got me thinking more about this whole anti-hero type deal, man.
Like,
Like,
but then you bringing up Batman, like he's a hero. Well, is he similar like Spider-Man where he started off like the way like the Batman film started off is like or the early not there's ambiguity of if he's on the side of the police or if he's um actually a villain type of deal.
well, yeah. I mean, if you
Yeah.
put Batman, Superman side by side, and you looked at both of them, and you said which one's a good guy, which one's a bad guy, you're
Yeah.
probably gonna say Superman's the good guy and Batman's the bad guy,
Mhm.
just because I'm based
Yeah.
on color scheme and stuff like that.
Sure.
So yeah,
Okay.
and Batman's way better too, by the way. So
No, but I'm trying to think of why we cheer for Batman. Like obviously he's the way he goes about on saving the day of like he's intelligent. Like I think
well, he has a
Batman is
code
more
too.
relatable. Yeah,
He
like
has a code
we
too. So
want
yeah,
to aspire to be more Batman than Superman because the way he's able to defeat his villains.
right.
Like thinking about it is like his villains are kind of a um each villain, I guess for all superheroes, they are the flaws inside of them that they're trying
Yeah.
to overcome.
Plus,
Like
Superman's an
villain,
asshole. Like
why you say Superman's an asshole?
when he plays judge, jury, and executioner, bro. Like he sends people to the Phantom Zone, no trial. He says you're a bad guy, and he sends them all on the way. Whereas Batman, he arrests them, sends them to Arkham. Yeah, they escape, but he's trusted our justice system.
True, but
So
that's a human justice system. He's an alien, and he follows
yeah, but he's on America, baby.
America. Uh,
Doesn't matter if you're a former president or president's son, man, you could still be convicted,
mhm.
of your crimes. No one's above the law.
No one, no one's above the law. That's what we all like to believe. Let's see. John said, "When we're young, perfect heroes are who we want to be. Maturing is realizing that we can have flaws." That's a good point. Like
Mhm.
we do start off in life where we feel like we have to be perfect or we can't fail.
Mhm.
I think that is a good good notion where at least with these anti-heroes we know they have failures but they're still doing um good things or they're still trying to do right
Well, yeah,
things.
yeah. Everyone has like their flaws, like
Mhm.
for example, like we talk about Superman being this perfect hero type deal, and
Mhm.
he doesn't have any flaws and stuff like that. Whereas somebody like Iron Man, right? In the public,
Mhm.
he's like this figure that saves people, that does take like brings tech to the world. But when he takes the mask off, he's like a raging alcoholic. You know what I mean?
Yeah, and he's kind of an asshole too.
And he is an asshole too. Like
Like,
but so that's another thing that like is a little relatable to people too. Like when they're out in
mhm.
public, they gotta put on this mask, but when they're
Mhm.
at home, it's like that's the real person. So
Oh.
yeah.
Well, are there is every is a majority of characters now just in the gray area. Like I could think of all of the Avengers where they could be somewhat anti-hero from Black Widow to Hawkeye, Hulk's Was been portrayed as evil.
Oh
Iron
yeah.
Man's arrogant. Captain America went against the United States. Thor,
Mm-hmm.
he's what's Thor? Drunk. He's a I don't know. Or he's another arrogant superhero. Like there's I guess I think the current landscape there's a lot of gray areas to these characters where so they don't fit a perfect hero model, but
I don't think
but
I.
you still should.
Well, I think they all, you know, walk the line. You know what I
Mhm,
mean? It's just how much are people willing to like forgive? You know what I mean?
mhm,
Like, like when Superman takes on whoever, right?
mhm.
He saves the day, but there's so much collateral damage. You know what I mean? So
Yeah,
who?
they
How many
never talk
people?
about that.
Yeah, and they never talk about that. So how many people die from that
Mhm,
shit? You know what I mean? So
mhm.
who knows? Again,
Yeah,
it's each person's perspective. It's
yeah, that's
just
true.
I think the label of anti-heroes more for like selling purposes, like selling comics and
Right.
stuff like that.
No, that's a good point. And just what we're doing now, I think we've gotten a point in our consumption of this stuff is like we're over. I think we're just over. It's overthinking what these characters are.
Hmm.
Like before, you didn't need to think about, oh, they destroyed all those buildings, like Power Rangers. Like they destroyed all those buildings.
Yeah.
Think about the people that were inside of there. No, no, just um,
Well, yeah. John says Stan Lee focuses focus was to show the flaws. You know what I mean? And this is how I've always felt about Marvel versus DC. I always felt like Marvel,
mhm,
their heroes had more depth in characters. Like you felt
mhm.
like the heroes
Yeah,
had more depth in the story. You learned more about them. Whereas DC, you actually
mhm.
cared more about the villains more than the main
Yeah.
character of each book. Each person.
No, that's true.
So.
Like the villains were, yeah, again, more relatable in some ways because you kind of got to see how they became villains. At
Right.
least growing for when we started getting into the world of DC and Marvel, like you got to see the backstories of how villain or normal person became villain. But we also with DC, you started with these heroes being heroes, and the saying somebody's pointed out how Superman is it's not about what a alien OP alien does with powers. It's what a good person can do with unlimited powers. And I
Hmm.
think that's what DC is. Like these are heroes that have powers and they're setting the example of what good people could actually do with them.
Hmm.
Um good intended people could do with them and that's we don't see enough of that. I
Hmm.
don't at least I don't
Well, I think
think we
that's
see
what the
enough of that in our day
boys,
to day.
what the boys like to parody is that
Mhm.
these people have great power, but they're such dicks. They don't.
Yeah.
They have no zero consequence about what they do. Like A
Mhm.
Train, when he was just running all over this place on on the what was this stuff called? The V,
Um yeah,
the whatever the juice was called, and and it's just they're not good people, but they got powers.
right.
Whereas the people
Mhm.
with good powers, or the people with powers that are good, they're always either killed or swept to the side or not even taken serious. So
Mhm.
so yeah,
Okay.
Batman puts
Um,
people to sleep. Yes, that's his code. That's his
or
code.
we just he kills them off camera, and
No, he just
Mm.
remember. It's like what Christian Bale said. It's like I I'm not gonna kill you, but doesn't mean I have to
um,
save you.
save
So
you.
think of that, Ra's al
Okay.
Ghul.
Mm, God, that's such a loophole, Batman loophole. Like,
Yeah, he's got good
um,
lawyers.
yeah. Well, as I said, I was gonna shoehorn, wrestling into this conversation.
Hmm.
So the obvious one is the NWO,
Yeah.
of where obvious one is NWO and Stone Cold and The Rock. Like
Oh, DX.
these are yeah, NDX. Like just groups and characters that are anti-establishment that they don't tout that a good guy, but they've done something where again the audience relates to or can cheer because the the tip the the old standard of what a good guy is no longer fits, and
Right.
um like Hogan turning like red and yellow Hogan turning to black and white, like that's the best example of a anti-hero or a hero turning anti-hero. Is like the audience no longer wanted him anymore, so he turns to the dark side, and
Hmm.
now everybody wants him when he became
Yeah,
NWO.
I agree and disagree. I think he went to a
Okay.
period where he was beloved by everybody, right?
Mhm.
Even when he went to
Right.
WCW, people still loved Hogan.
Mhm.
And then he completely heel turned and he became the bad guy, right?
Yeah.
He sided with these two outsiders, Kevin Nash and Scott
Mhm.
Hall, and they were just like, why would he do this? Like, I can't believe he did this. So he's a villain. He's a true villain in the sense, right? But when he's him and the other two dudes started going around doing what they were doing, fucking spray painting the title, people were like, "Hey, that's kind of cool. These guys don't have to
Yeah.
listen to their boss. That's pretty sick." So I think there's a difference between a hero a villain becoming an anti-hero versus a hero becoming an anti-hero. I think the journey
Mhm.
is much different. You know what I mean?
Mhm.
Whereas he's a
Mhm.
good guy, he went bad. Now he's kind of like public perspective looks at him like, oh, that's cool. Whereas if you're a villain, you do good things, then you're considered an anti-hero. So
Yeah.
yeah, I feel that's
Yeah.
I feel like Triple H in embodies that a little bit when he was Hunter Hensley, or when he was like
Yeah.
when
The
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 Bridget
aristocrat.
the aristocrat version, right? Everyone
Yeah.
hated
Yeah.
that
Yeah.
character, like, oh, this guy's such a piece of shit. Like, but when he went DX, it was like, oh, this guy's cool. He's
Yeah.
fucking with me, man. That's cool, you know. Where now he's an anti-hero. You know what I mean? So
Mhm.
yeah,
Okay.
I think it's a little bit different in wrestling though. It's like
It is.
super. It's
But
like super on the nose over there. You know what I
it
mean?
is too on the nose. But sometimes that's what pushes fan bases away when it's a little too on the nose.
Mhm.
I just wanted to get that
It's a good.
nudge that in
It's a
for
good.
our
It
other
fits.
content we talk about. Just to close the wrap up here is just like, do do heroes need to change moving forward to compete um with this new sudden rise of like favoring villains and anti-heroes, or um I think we're just gonna go through another cycle where it's needed. The clean cut hero will just come back in style again.
Okay, here's what I like. Okay, and a story that does this very well. This happens a lot. Okay,
Mhm.
anime, right?
Okay.
Something when you watch like Demon Slayer, right?
Mhm.
The hero's a very strong hero. It's his, you know, where his morals lie. He can't be swayed, right, to be go to the other side or anything. But what makes
Mhm.
him so good is that they lose people in the story. Like,
Okay.
there's characters that die in the story and it helps them become even stronger, whereas in other shows no one ever dies, and even if they do die, they come back, right? Like in Marvel, DC, whatever, right?
Right. Yeah. Yeah.
Whereas like stories, I like stories where the hero loses too. Like,
Mhm.
it may not, they lose the battle themselves, but they lose their Aunt May or their Uncle Ben in the battle and stuff. Like, it just shows them being more relatable. Whereas,
Right.
like, you know, Power Rangers, right? Every episode, no matter how hard the fight is, no one on the bad guys or the good guys ever lose or die.
No.
Alpha 5 never dies, Zordon never gets uncorked, you know, but it's just like they always
At the
survive.
very end, he did.
Yeah,
Anyways.
but
Yeah.
you know, they're always okay. Even when
Okay.
dumbass Rocky in the movie like says, let's train harder, and then flies out of the ring, he's still fine at the end of it. You know what I mean? There's no
Yeah.
consequences for these heroes, you know? And
Mm.
that's why I feel it's better when heroes die in
Mhm.
in shows. And I guess that's why Game of Thrones is so good too, is because you could get attached to characters but don't get attached because
Yeah.
they're gonna die eventually, you know. And I think that's what I like a lot, you know. It's not, everything doesn't happen for sure, you know. So,
Mhm.
and I think that's why
Okay.
The Boys right now is only, like, I don't know if you heard, but I think the 5th season, I believe they said it's gonna be its last season for sure.
Yeah.
Because
Yeah.
I feel like they lose people, but they have too much plot armor. Like certain
Right.
heroes have too much plot armor, and
Mhm.
it's always better when they're vulnerable. Even the guy,
Yeah.
even what's his the main character's name, Huey, like he has
Yeah.
no powers. Even
Not yet.
yeah, even Butcher, like these are just regular dudes, and they should be able to die from these guys who are like Superman basically, but they
Mhm.
don't die, you know. And
Yeah.
it's fun because it's like, oh, that could be me and stuff like that, but it just helps the story when other people around them they suffer,
Mhm.
you know, because it adds to their
Right.
character. So
Yeah.
yeah, that's just me.
And well, I think that we answered the question. That I think we just like audience likes to see the antagonist burn.
I
Just
mean,
a little bit.
just a
Just a
little
little
bit.
bit.
I mean,
Yeah.
yeah, it's not realistic for superheroes to always like
Mhm.
come out on top with being
Mhm.
unscathed, you know. So
Yeah. Okay.
that's why I loved
Any
when Robert Downey died. Spoilers in Endgame.
spoilers?
In Endgame,
He's coming back. He's coming back.
but I
As
thought
the asshole.
no, he's coming back as AI. So
Yeah. Okay. Any final thoughts or before wrapping up here
with all the superhero reboots that have been
Mhm.
happening with everybody, I mentioned them on this podcast today. I'm gonna say it again. We need a reboot of Blank Man. And for you kids who have not watched Blank Man, look it up, watch it, enjoy it. It's
Okay.
good.
I gotta say that I haven't watched it myself. Well, I've seen it bits and pieces,
You
but I
haven't
haven't
seen
seen
it.
all
All
the
right,
way
you're
through.
not invited to the cookout anymore.
I'm sorry. Okay, NXT reference. Uh,
Sure. Sure.
sure. Anyways, all right. Well, thank you for humoring me with this discussion of the anti-hero and why we cheer for them versus the hero. I think it raised more questions than answers for me, but
Hmm.
yeah, I think a lot of our podcasts do that. Um,
That's why I gotta keep
um,
coming back, y'all.
you got to keep coming back. We're never ending with our discussions and our crackpot theories of
Yeah.
what's going on in the world of pop culture. But yeah, man. We'll probably be back in July, right?
You know, next week we'll probably be doing a gaming stream for a little bit.
Okay.
Maybe
Mm-hmm.
for a couple hours, just hanging out. Don't know what we're
Mm-hmm.
playing yet, but we'll
Sure.
see. We'll be here at least for a couple hours next Tuesday for sure.
Okay.
But
Sounds
yeah,
good. Okay. Just wanted to prep the our audience for the remainder of the month. But yeah, man. But
yeah,
appreciate you
for sure. Thank you for setting up the
discussing.
topic, baby.
Yeah,
Good
no problem,
topic.
man. Did my best. But yeah, man. We'll see you all next time. Bye, y'all.
Bye, y'all.